if you've watched the Kitaholics unboxing, when I showed you the mixed media kit, I promised to show you the best way to use your paint pens and how to prime them properly, etc, etc. So I thought that's what we do today. I thought my first video I would do a real-time video and just show you how best to use your paint pens, play with the stencils, some mist, and I thought we'd make some Project Life cards. So I'm in the process of doing my 2018 album, as we all are, and I haven't done my title page yet, so I thought I might do some, make some of my own Project Life cards in a nice simple black, white and gold colour tone, and yeah, give it a go. So I thought we'd make a real-time video and make our own Project Life cards. So that's what we're going to do. So I've just got some Kaisercraft cardstock with overspray on it, it would appear. And I'm just using my old cutter because my new one's inside and I can't be bothered going in and getting it. So we're just going to cut some cards to size. So I'm going to start with some 4x6s. So I've got my 4 inches. I'll just cut them all down in 4 first. So, and then I'll cut these across in 6. And then I'll cut some 3x4s as well. Good to have a little variety in life, isn't it? So normally I just use what I get in my kits or the many core kits that I have, because you know I have a never ending supply of Project Life cards. But I also have an amazing collection of mixed media supplies, and I want to do something a bit different with them, especially to show all of you, you know, how we can use the mixed media kit that we get. And instead of doing another art journal page, don't get me wrong, I will be doing an art journal page this month. I'll share it on Instagram for you if I don't use it as one of my design team pieces. But, you know, I thought we could find something else to do. So, what we're going to do, so I'm just going to make a whole bunch of random ones and see what we come up with. So, giving this a good shake. Now, if you shake it like this, you're going to get bubbles. And that's, you know, not great. So it's always good to give it a bit of a tap. So yes, I am going to get bubbles now, but, you know, I'll make do with it. Give it a bit of a tap until you can see on the bottom all your shimmer powder is no longer there. I'll show you another one I've got. So if you have a look, all the shimmer powder sits on the bottom, and you have to mix it up before you use it, otherwise you're not going to get any of that pretty shimmer. So see the difference? So all my shimmer is mixed in and ready to go. So we'll start off and we'll just give it a bit of a spritz. Don't be shy about how much you want to use. Look, there's plenty of fluid in this. I'm just going to use my heat gun. So I'm going to try not to do too much with my heat gun because I don't want to, because we're doing a real-time video, that's going to be a real pain for you all. So we're going to let that dry, and we're going to move on to a few other of my favourite techniques to use. So this is going to be a 3-part process. What we're going to do is we're going to make our background first with our mist, then we're going to add some details with our stencil, and then with our paint pens. So very important, and I will tell you this now before I forget, with your paint pens, everything has to be dry before you use these. If it is even a little bit wet, you will kill these, and that is a problem a lot of people have. They stop working and people think that there's something wrong with the pens. It's not the pens, I hate to say it, it's user error. Don't get me wrong, I've done it to many pens and I know the rule, and yet I've still killed more paint pens than I'd like to admit. This will actually be my 3rd set of these now. So, yeah, very important. Make sure your page is dry. If you use a lot of wet media like me, a lot of paint and a lot of ink, it has to be 100% dry or your paint pens will not work. Just remember that one. So, just giving it a bit of a shake again because it's settled in the bottom. So let's do the packaging technique. School holidays, interruption plus, but we'll get through. So I thought while I was using Mixed Media Kit and going to make some cards, I thought I'd show you some of my favourite techniques. So I thought that's what we could do. So packaging technique, very, very good and easy if you're new to mixed media. It's a great way to start out in mixed media if you're a little scared or a little worried. So simply spray your packaging. I like to give it a bit of a smush and then literally, boom, straight on, smush it around. Again, straight on, smush it around. Now with the gold especially, it's going to be, best bet's going to be wait till it dries before you see what you're actually, your end result. You're not going to see how great that is until it's dry. So you can see all the shimmer, but you can't see the colour, so best bet's to wait till that's dry. And then there's the good old Tim Holtz method as well. And that is straight on the craft sheet. When I do this, this tends to be hit and miss for me because as you can see, my craft sheet is very well loved. And because I use a lot of water reactive inks, when I put something down, sometimes I get a mix of colours because there's colour still left in this, so we'll see. So just spray your mist straight on the craft sheet and then just literally drag your card through. Now this works best when you're layering. Now as you can see, there's not really much, well, it doesn't look like there's much there, but if I was to give this a quick dry and then go back and do it again, wait and see. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. Okay, so you do get some warping when you use wet media, but you know, it doesn't bother me. If you're doing a background, a scrapbook layer, you can mat it on some cardstock or some chipboard. With Project Life cards and small things, it doesn't bother me much. Like if I do get warping, I just bend it back the other way. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see that we've got some good glimmer and some good colour happening. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and do it again. And as you can see, that's when you'll start to get the tone on tone. So I'm going to dry this again and I'll come back and show you. See, bit of warping, I just bent it back. And now you can see we're starting to get some tone on tone. Now obviously this does work better with different inks. Not so much shimmer inks because as you can see it's mostly the shimmer that we're getting, not colour. If I was to do this with a colour, you'd see the difference. But because my title page for my 2018 album is, I'll show you obviously when I'm done. I've run out of ink on my photo printer, so I am haven't been able to print out my photos for my title page. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these as my Project Life cards for my title, so 2018 and you know our names and that. And I'm doing black and white photos in the 3x4 pockets for each of us. So I felt that because it's black and white, I felt that the gold would go really nicely with that. So I really like that one, so I'm going to do a 4x6 in this technique as well. So this is the first one we did where we just sprayed it straight on. So maybe, and don't be afraid to layer. So as you can see, we've got, this was the packaging technique we did, and this was when we sprayed it. So let's do the packaging technique on top of the first spray. So make sure you give it a bit of a tap, get all your gold and shimmer dust mixed through there beautifully. Packaging, spray, simple. I like to smush and then just rub it on. And voila. So it's always about your layers. Don't be afraid to layer. I love layering, I really do. And if you don't like something, do it again. If you don't like a layer, like I didn't like the splotchiness that I had on this one, so I'm doing a new technique straight on top of it. Don't be afraid to layer things up or go over things again if you didn't like how they turned out the first time. Yeah, like I was saying, I didn't really like the splotchiness, so I just did a whole nother layer on top. And now I've got even more prettiness, look at that. So I think I'm going to use that one on my title page. I like that a lot. So we'll give that a blast with the heat gun. We'll see what happens. Now see, again, we've got some warping, but I just like to bend it back the other way. If the warping bothers me a lot, I'll just put it under, when I'm finished with it, I'll put it under some books or something, and I find that that flattens it out really nicely. So, I like that a lot. I'm going to use that one later on, and I'm going to put 2018 right in the middle of that, I think. So, let's try something different. So we've got another 4x6. Let's do something with paint pens. So, let's open these bad boys up. So these are the Delusions paint pens. All paint pens are the same in principle. When you use them, make sure everything's dry. The Delusions paint pens are unique in this aspect. I don't know if you can see that. You're not going to be able to sit on that. See the tip? It is a very, very, very fine tip. A lot of paint pens, it's actually like a felt tip pen. A lot of paint pens have a very chunky, broad tip. Even some of the thinner ones these are the thinnest I've ever seen. So it's a tip like a paint pen, like a felt tip pen. And that's what makes these unique. Now in here they're called paint pens because that's paint in there, acrylic paint. So, very important, get yourself a scrap of paper. Give it a shake. Now, it can be a long process, and that's where people get frustrated, I think. Give your pen a shake, and then all you're going to do, literally, all you're going to do is hold it down. Hold it down for a few seconds, that's it. Don't pump it up and down, because you will ruin your tip, and your paint pen won't work. So, hold it down, hold it back up, and give it a shake. Hold it down, give it a shake. Because what's happening is, I don't know if you can see, but all that paint has to travel down here into the chamber here and then down through the nib. So it's got a fair way to travel. And if you keep pumping the nib, all it does is it wrecks the top of your pen. So don't continually pump. Give it a shake and hold. And it's that simple. Give it a shake and hold. And if you can see, all that paint's starting to travel down here. So we're getting there. It can be a long process sometimes, but see there, see how all that paint's coming down now? Shake, hold, and voila. See how my tip now has paint on it? And just like that, done. So, very, very important. Shake and hold, that is it. Do not pump your pen, it will wreck it. So, let's play with our stencil. Now, obviously, when you get a stencil, most people use it with paint or mist or something like that. We're going to do a bit of both today. But what I'm also going to do is use my good old paint pen, and I'm just going to start off the page a bit. And I'm just going to draw through my stencil. Don't want to be too neat about it, nice and random. Using the stencil as a guide. Not really worrying where we're going. So, always look at your supplies and think, well, what else can I do with this other than the way it was intended by the manufacturer? So obviously this is a stencil. Most people get a spray paint and spray through it. Try drawing through your stencils. Give it a go. It's surprisingly a lot of fun, and it's very easy. Literally, I'm just tracing through the stencil. See? Voila. Now see, this doesn't look very interesting right now, does it? But we're not finished, are we? So, you know, a few little wiggly lines here and there. I love these paint pens. They are amazing. And yeah, you just have to use them properly. Like, you just have to start them up, prime them properly. I'm going to colour a few of these in, I think. Maybe here, here. They're great to doodle with in your art journal if you have an art journal. A few little random lines here and there. And see, all that was happening here was I just needed to put some more paint in my tip. So that's literally just hold it down, got my paint back in. See? Voila, easy. So, paint pens. I'll show you the white one a bit later on. So, another thing that we always like to do with our shimmer is splatters. Can't go wrong with a good splatter. Now, all that happened here was I smudged my paint pen. Because it is paint, it does take a little bit to dry. It is a very thin application of paint, but, you know, it is still paint, so I just accidentally smudged it. But, yeah, so, there we have it. Now, I might add something to this later. If I don't like it, I'll cover bits of it up. But we'll see what we do with that at the end of our video. So, paint pens and stencils. Alright, so let's use a stencil the way a stencil is intended to be used. So we have our 3x4 card, and we're just going to, sometimes your best bet is to, I'm looking for some washi tape. Do I have any on my desk? Here we go. If you want it nice and flat, especially with a very thin liquid like a shimmer mist, if I was to spray that now, chances are it would go under the stencil because the stencil is not pressed flat. So if I want it flat, washi tape it down. And it is now stuck to my craft mat, so I should get, and remember, you don't have to be precise about anything. Like, I know there's parts that I missed on purpose. And if you don't want to wait for it to dry, or dry with heat gun, bit of paper towel, straight over the top.
Well, why are we putting outside?
Ta-da! Look at all that shimmery goodness. How pretty is that? So a gold especially is more about the shimmer than the colour. So if I was to do these techniques with a coloured spray or an ink spray, for example, all these techniques would look a lot different. Maybe we could do that another time. But for now, have a look at that. So all that shimmery goodness. Alright, so we're going to dry these and then we're going to move on to our second layer and see what we can come up with. So everything's dry enough now to move on to our next layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab probably the most used medium in my art room. This is an absolute necessity to me, and I've probably gone through about 4 tubs. Ask Steph, she will tell you. She has to hook me up quite regularly. Speaking of which, Steph, this is the last full tub I have, so yeah. Black paint of some kind. This is my favourite. I love the Delusions Paint. Yes, it's the exact same colour, obviously black is black, but it's the exact same brand and paint. But what I like about the Delusions Paint, and if this is a new tub, you'll see. Okay, so this has been here for a while. Well, not a while, but as you can see, they're very fluid. But when you get a brand new pot, they're even more fluid than this. But either way, they still do the same job. Doesn't matter how long you've had them and how long they sit and how fluid they are or aren't. But I love them because they're very opaque. You can apply a thin layer and get it translucent, or you can apply it thickly and get a nice opaque colour. I just love that I love the tubs for starters. You can really get in there. Hang on. But also, they dry really quickly. So, very rarely do I use paintbrushes. I have beautiful paintbrushes, but very rarely do I use them. Generally, I'll tend to use this. So this is just a good old makeup sponge. I buy a packet of 10 for $2.50 from Kmart, and as you can see, look, here's one I had last night. When I use them, actually I just used one last night in the black. I don't throw the whole thing out. I'll cut it down till it gets too small that I can use, so I'll use this one actually. So all I do, I tend to use the lid, and if there's no paint in the lid, I'll put it on, shake it up and get some paint in my lid. Just makes it easier. With stencils, very important, if you put too much paint on your applicator, it will seep under and you will not get a clean, crisp image. So if I have too much paint, I'm just going to dab that off onto my craft sheet and work it into my sponge. Same whether you use an ink dauber or a paintbrush, doesn't matter what you use, same principle. Work it into your applicator. Move your paint out the way so you don't spill it like I do. So, I might do it on, no, I'll do it here. So we're just going to use our stencil, and I'm just going to dab the paint through just randomly. Just here and there. Get a bit more paint, dab it on. A bit more paint, dab it on. And what I want is I just want to make some interest. Now, as you can see, I've done that all over the place. Just do the edges as well, because, you know, why not? And as you can see, I've barely put any paint on my dauber. What I wanted to do with this one is I just want to do some little smudges, because we're going to put some shimmer on top of this and see how it turns out. So yes, we have the shimmer through the stencil underneath, but I also, when that dries, I want to put some shimmer on top and see what comes out. And then this one, I thought we could get a bit more paint on my craft sheet, work it in. Now here I move the stencil around every which way and got a nice little irregular pattern. What we're going to do here is we're going to leave it straight, and I'm just going to go straight through as the stencil was designed. And I'm going to do that on the top, and I'm going to do that on the bottom. Actually, let's go all the way around, huh? Why not? So I'm just going to have it off the page because, you know, why not? And because that's how my stencil fits best. And we're just gonna, and as you can see, I've used very little paint, but I'm still getting very, very great coverage. And if you have a look, it's not translucent, it's very opaque, you can't see through. So we're going to leave that to dry. Now with my sponge, I've used a lot more on this side. If I was using another colour, literally I'd flip it over and use the other side. If I was using where are my scissors, a full sponge, all I do is I just then cut it, and I've still got a bit of sponge left. But you know, they're that cheap, I will just throw that whole thing out, unless I was planning on using the black again. But yes, they're just cheap makeup applicators. I get them from Kmart, like I said, but you can get them anywhere really, any cheap shop. Now as you can see, as I've been talking to you, that is pretty much dry. That is why I love Delusions paints, they dry very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how well this works on top of black paint. So we're going to give it a bit of a, should we spritz or should we splatter? Let's spritz. So we're just going to, oh wow, look at that. Oh, how pretty. Wow, that is amazing. I think we need to do that on a bigger card too. So, as you can see, good old gold. Beautiful. That's not even dry yet. I've just spritzed that. So when that dries, we're going to see how well that's worked. So let's hit that with the heat gun. How pretty is that? Wow. Very, very pretty. So, let's maybe do that on this one. Because, you know, can't leave well enough alone. And I just threw out my sponge. Oh no, we have another one. Here we go. So we're going to get a bit of our... So let's just blend these two together. And as you can see, because I'm doing it, because of the way I'm using it, I'm not doing a very thick coat, you can actually see some of that design behind as well. Which is good because I don't really want to cover up all this design because I do like it. So, let's wait for that to dry. And we'll spritz that as well. See, nice and fast. It's my favourite paint in the world to use. So, Bit of a tap, make sure our colours mixed. Yep, cool. And obviously the more you spritz it and the more water you, ink, shimmer, this you use, the higher concentration your colour is going to be, the more liquid you're going to have, the more it's going to pool, etc, etc. So it will work differently. If you want, you can go and dab that up or hit it with a heat gun, but voila, look at that. Now I'm going to use my white paint pen on top of that. I like that a lot. So much so that I'm going to make another one, I think, because I want to see how that would look with a little bit less mist on it. So we're going to go back and get my stencil, because I like the way that looked on the outside. So I'm just going to get some more paint. I'm going to have this hanging off this time because I like the way it looks like a border on the card. And as you can see, I haven't filled in the entire stencil, but when I lift it up, you can't tell because this is the way this stencil is designed, so that's pretty cool. Wipe that up because I don't want to get it everywhere.
Honey,
Yeah, honey?
is our scooters done yet?
Pardon?
Is our scooters done?
No, they wouldn't be yet, honey.
Can we go have a look?
Yeah, sure. Oh, that was my fault because I pulled it across and I've got paint on the back. So just going to give that a quick wipe because I do want to try and keep that line best I can. See, when you plan, if you're anything like me, when I don't plan something, it turns out great. When I plan something and have something in mind, that's when I get all my mess ups and struggles. So, yes, lots of fun. So I'm just going to go around, hold that down, a bit more paint. Alright. And then, see, how awesome is that? You wouldn't think that come from that, would you? I like that a lot. I think I'm going to use this as my title card. And I know I just said that before, but, you know, we'll see. Bit of black in the middle there. Reminds me of a zebra. Anyone else? Alright. Alright, so I'm just going to hit this with the heat gun to give it a quick dry so I can put some shimmer down. Alright, that's dry enough. Bit of a tap because it all sits to the bottom. Now, I did a lot of shimmer on this one, so we're just going to do a little bit and see what we get on this one. Alright, how's that? I think that's very pretty. Not bad at all. And then, just for added, let's do some splatters as well. Alright, we're going to let these dry. Okay, now everything is well and truly dry, so I thought we might put these together. So actually I might do some white doodling on this one first. So we're going to prime our white paint pen. Now, give it a good shake, make sure you get all of that paint moving around. And we're going to do the exact same thing again. We're going to shake and then we're just going to press. That's it, no pumping, no scribbling, no nothing. We're just going to press and shake. Press and shake. Now you will have to do this a few times, but remember, we're getting the paint from here down to here. So don't give up, it does work, I promise you that. Shake and press. Shake and press. Shake and press. So, see what I mean? It can be a long process, but trust me, it pays to do it properly the first time. Otherwise, you will end up with a paint pen you can't use. And like I said, yep, see, there we go, done. See? I'll do it on the blackie, so there you go. Now, this is a fantastic white paint pen. I don't know if anyone else has issues with paint pens. I like a really opaque white paint pen, and sometimes I find that can be really quite hard to get, but these ones are amazing. So like I said, very important, make sure everything is completely dry, otherwise you will wreck your paint pen. I know from many, many times experience, trust me. So, what I thought I'd do is I might just go around some of these. And just, yeah, bring some more contrast in. Not necessarily doing all of them, just a few, just to bring in a bit of contrast. And I really wanted to play with my white paint pen. Alright, so nice and simple on that one. This one I think I might turn into a journaling card, so we'll just scribble on some lines here. Oh, did you hear that? It's so windy here today. And that's all I'm going to do with that. I'll write on that when I decide what I'm going to use. And what I'll probably do is I'll do my journaling and maybe put a little cluster of bling or something on here. Nice and simple. So, what can we do on this one? Might leave that one. But I've decided what I want to do with this. I'm going to make this my title. And I thought I would use the wood veneer that we got in last month's kit that I did not use. So I'm hoping it's going to fit. So we'll see how I go. We'll see if I'm lucky. Yeah? We'll see if my plan will work. I don't know. Alright, let's have a look. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect. So, I don't know whether to paint it white or just leave it wood. I think I might leave it maybe. Yeah, I think I'll leave it. So, I'm going to glue this down and then that's going to be my title card, I think. I'm going to put that in my album. Like I said, I am out of photo ink, so I can't print off yet, print any photos. But I will before I upload this. So I will show you the finished product of my title page and show you these awesome cards that I'm going to include. Alright, very happy with that. I'm kind of glad these worked out. I wasn't sure how I was going to use them, so I'm quite happy I could put them on my card. Alright, let's have a look. 2018. And done. When I put that in my album, I might bling it up a bit as well. I want to do it all together, so I will finish those cards before I just want to add a bit more detail in here. Maybe just do a few little white spots here and there. I love a good white paint pen, don't you? I think I might have just overdone it with the white, but oh well. We're going for a New Year confetti type look, aren't we? Alright. And I could, now one of my favourite things to do as well, but you know, I'll do it on this one because I don't want to keep going. Get some ink in there and then just fling it around. This is what I do when I kill my paint pens and I can't use them out the tip anymore. Yeah, this is what I do. But it's a great way to get very opaque white splatters. Like I was saying, these are really great pigment, and I don't know about you, but when I use any of my Delusions or Distress and try and do white splatters, it seeps up the colour underneath, so it doesn't work to do white splatters, so I use paint pens. So that's what I do there. So that's it for me for today. So I hope you've enjoyed our real-time video we've got going here, and I will show you what I do with these cards that I've put together at the end of this video. So, thank you for watching, and I'll be back later with more. Bye for now.